let's see. I understand that not doing the bench press is not optimal and deviates from the starting strength protocol. However, due to my work and personal schedule, I do not have access to a consistent spotter for the bench press. I would like to avoid the unsafe predicament benching without a spot presents. Given that consistency is one of the key tenets of your program, I would like to replace the bench press with another movement that can be progressed in a similar fashion, providing the appropriate stress needed to stimulate adaptation and be implemented without a spotter. Does there exist such an exercise that fits these criteria? No, or it would be in the program. Now, the way to bench press safely without a spotter is to do it in a power rack with the pins set just below the level of your chest and just above the level of your throat, so that if you miss a rep, you can set it down on the pins without getting killed. All right? That's the first part of the process. And the second part of the process is to learn to accurately gauge the weight that should be on the bar today. All right? You have to learn when to take small jumps on the bench. And that's going to be sooner rather than later for you heroes that want to take 10-pound jumps on the bench. You can't do it. And if you try to do it, you're going to get stuck. And if you haven't prepared to get stuck, then you're going to be in a pickle. All right? A spotter is wonderful. A spotter can be either a lifesaver and a gigantic aid to your training, or it can be a complete disaster if the guy is just some bro hanging around in golds and you call him over and he grabs your fifth PR rep of your last set of 5 and says, "One more, man, it's all you. It's all you." So I don't know. I mean, there are reasons to have spotters, and there are reasons to correctly set the bench press up so that it doesn't kill you, so that you can honestly get a PR without some jackass coming over and sticking his hands in your training. Okay, so don't regard a spotter as absolutely necessary to do the bench press. If you're using the correct equipment, you don't need a spotter. Correct equipment, I really think that, there's not any reason at all to bench press at home without protection set in a rack. If you don't have the equipment to bench, then don't bench. All right, that should be obvious. If you're trained by yourself, and you have trained by yourself, and you have no equipment to bench without protection, then you can't bench press. But by the same token, having a spotter is no guarantee that you're not going to drop the bar on your chest, because the spotter can't catch that in the air. Nobody can react that fast. The human reaction time is not up to the task of catching a dropped bench press. That can't happen. Doesn't matter if there's 2 spotters. The bar will hit you in the chest if you drop it. It will hit you in the chest. Now, the spotters can maybe catch it on the first bounce, but by then your sternum's broken, right? So you need protection anyway. So keep that in mind. But to answer your question, no, if there was a substitute movement that was better than the bench or even close to the bench, it would already be in the program, okay? Now, in fact, what is one of the reasons that incline is not desirable is you can't really do a protected incline bench. There's not really a way to set that up. You may have an incline flat bench and set it up in the rack with pins, but it's awkward, and the pins will always be in the way. And it's just, so just, make your plans accordingly. Okay, now, I recently read your article, Strength and Conditioning for Fencing, published in Strength and Conditioning Journal back in 2000. It's an excellent article that I think all fencers should read. I do too. I fenced and coached for a few years when I was a younger man. I really wished I'd learned about your program back when I was involved in the sport. I'm ashamed to admit that so much of my cross-training was unfocused and silly nonsense, particularly the idea that running really long distances would somehow make me explosive. Well, that's why I wrote the article. And as far as I know, it's the only thing in the literature that's specifically addresses strength and conditioning for fencing in a logical, analytical way. Are you still involved in fencing? How did you get involved with the sport? What weapons have you trained with? So I no longer fence. No, I have had a couple of severe injuries to my right shoulder. I'm right-handed, and I can't fence anymore. I've got no external rotation strength left in my right shoulder, and there's just not any way to do it. Can't parry, all right? I competed in épée at a meet one time. I've fenced with all the weapons, and just loved it. But my problem here in Wichita Falls is there was no one to coach me. Worked with a woman that was stationed here for a while. She was out at the base, and I trained with her a little while. But back when I would have been a competitive fencer, I didn't have a coach. And didn't have the means to travel back and forth to Dallas to train. So, and there was no one to practice with. It's a fencing wasteland up here. And as a result, that never went anywhere. I think I would have been a good fencer had I had an opportunity to develop in the sport, but I didn't, and now I'm crippled, and I can't do it anymore, so no, I don't. But I miss it terribly. It was fun. Really enjoyed it. But those days are gone. Lots of fun things I can't do anymore. Right? Mr. Ripido, first off, thank you for providing our office with the weekly Starting Strength radio program. Well, we're happy to do that for your office. We listen to it frequently and are amused when our other athletic trainer and physical therapist office mates are offended and irritated due to the opinions shared on the program. Well, I'm amused too. Because all they have to do is just believe us, me and you, and then they would be better at their jobs. But no, we got this. I know that's what they say. All right? We simply laugh and stoke the fire further. Nothing like planning Starting Strength radio in a facility that frequently uses cupping, dry needling, BFR, and Indian clubs. Okay, so what are your thoughts, opinions, etc., with regards to the recent court ruling dealing with CrossFit versus NSCA? I am personally an ATC and CSCS, that's Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist, for those of you who are not prepared to be impressed by the National Strength and Conditioning Association. He's a non-SSE who teaches aspiring Service Academy students a fairly verbatim version of Starting Strength, and do find that much of both the National Athletic Trainer Association and NSCA, National Strength and Conditioning Association, what most of them promote is silly bullshit, which it is. What are my thoughts and opinions regarding the court ruling? All right. I have followed this in a very cursory fashion. I have some inside knowledge and some contacts with people that are involved on the CrossFit side. And what basically happened in this case was what happens in lots and lots and lots and lots of instances of peer-reviewed research being published. And what happens lots and lots and lots and lots of the time is that it's bullshit. The data sets are forged. Yes, they're forged. The conclusions were reached before the study was even proposed. And this appears to be what happened in the case of this particular suit. Look it up online. Not going to get into the particulars here. But the situation is endemic to professional research. Not just to exercise science, but to all professional research. And by professional research, I don't mean science. I mean professional research. Professional researchers and scientists are two different people. Most tenured academics are professional researchers, not scientists. And they're self-serving in terms of the money they receive. They're grant writers and on the TED of the national organizations the federal government maintains for supporting scientific research, quote unquote. There are a lot of motivations involved in this that have nothing to do with research or science. And those of you in the general public need to understand that not everything you read in a scientific journal is true. Okay? That's a topic of a whole show maybe we'll do sometime. Okay? But this particular instance of CrossFit versus NSCA is probably going to end up in CrossFit's favor, and it's probably going to be real bad for the National Strength and Conditioning Association. And it should be, because they haven't been involved in either strength or conditioning in a very, very, very long time. Okay. All right, Rip. I'm a 24-year-old, 6'1", 185-pound male. He's a skinny kid, right? You often talk about the underweight 18-year-old, but how would someone a little older like myself approach calories? Does someone in their mid-20s have to eat more or less than someone in their late teens? Thomas, you're a kid. You're 24. There's no difference between you and an 18-year-old. You know, now if you're 38, it'd be different, but you're 24. You're a little skinny, 6'1", 185-pound turd. All right, you need to eat more than you're eating right now, because you know you need to gain weight, or you wouldn't have asked me about this. And there's not any functional difference between your ability to gain weight and the ability to gain weight of an 18-year-old. But I'm going to tell you, the window is closing rapidly. You better get up off of your ass and get under the bar and start eating a bunch of food and use the opportunity you have right now to get big and strong. Because if you get big and strong right now, you'll be bigger and stronger for the rest of your life than you will be if you don't. All right? Keep that in mind. All right? Now, dear Rip. I like it when people are polite. Dearest Rip. I've been getting severe pain in the inner elbow from the squat. It's gotten so bad that it completely prevents me from benching. My elbow feels like it'll explode during the bench descent. I switched to doing safety bar squats for a few weeks, and the pain went away completely, and I thought that was the end of it. But it took just a single moderate session of regular squats with 180 kilos or so for the pain to resurface again. What can I do about this? This is interesting for a couple of different reasons. All right? First off, what you're describing is golfer's elbow. Golfer's elbow is medial epicondylitis, and tennis elbow is lateral epicondylitis. So if your forearms are supine, this is medial, this is lateral. So this is tennis elbow, this is lateral epicondylitis, and this is medial epicondylitis. It's called golfer's elbow. It is an inflammation of the tendon insertions of the forearm flexors. And what typically produces this is an incorrect grip on the squat. It happens all the time. If you, and we've got several videos about the squat grip that you can look up on this website, and we'll tell you how to correctly grip the bar to avoid golfer's elbow. All right, there's at least 3 videos about that and an article or 2. So I'm not going to go into that here because I've done a much better job with it in the gym with a video about how to grip the bar. What I want to point out is this. He switched to doing safety bar squats for a few weeks, and the pain went away completely. The pain went away completely. But then it took a single moderate session of squats, and it came back. Because the pain went away, but the tendinitis, the tendinopathy, did not go away. Because tendinopathies do not heal with rest. All right, now this is one of the problems with going to your doctor. All right, because if you go to your doctor and you tell him that your knee tendon is hurting, he's going to say, well, are you squatting? And you're going to say, well, yeah, I'm squatting. He's not going to say, well, are you squatting correctly? He's not going to ask you about your knee slide at the bottom of the squat. He's not going to ask you about any of the germane things to what has created this knee tendinopathy. He's just going to say, well, quit squatting. And you'll go, well, he is a doctor. Well, after all, he is a doctor. He told me to quit squatting, so you're going to quit squatting. Right? And for 2 years, you're going to have your head up your ass, and you're going to not squat because the doctor told you not to squat. Then one day you get your head out of your ass and you think to yourself, I'm detrained. I need to start back squatting. You start back squatting, and God damned if your knee pain is not still there. It will be. Because tendinopathies do not heal with rest. Your tendon has changed a little bit. It's changed for the worse. But laying off of it doesn't make a tendon heal up. And this is disappointing to me too, okay? But the fact is that you cannot lay off of a tendon injury, tendinitis, tendinosis, all this stuff. You can't lay off of it and have it heal. It won't heal up. You have to fix the mechanical problem that caused the inflammation, that caused the problem, and train through it and make it heal under a load, because that's the only circumstances under which the thing will regain normal morphology. And God, I want that to not be true as bad as you do, but that's just all there is to it. If you want your golfer's elbow to heal, you're going to have to work it. The golfer's elbow protocol that we've got and the tennis elbow protocol we've got are basically the same. You're going to do a whole bunch of chins. You're going to do repeated sets, 20 sets of 2 or 3 chins. You're going to make the golfer's elbow hurt like hell. Usually takes about 4 or 5 workouts. And then it goes away. You're going to force it to heal. You're going to cause an increase, a temporary increase in the inflammation in the affected structure. And that temporary increase in inflammation being the way things heal up, causes the inflamed tendon to go ahead and go through the inflammatory cascade and heal itself up. And we've used this chin-up protocol with people for a long time, and it works very, very well. And to address your specific situation here, that's how you're going to deal with that.